Only lasted 4 issues, then
was about him changing the amendment to where a teenage boy could run for president.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it.
But then they changed it, or they re-released it again for the New 52.
2015.
In 2015, where her name is Beth Ross.
Mm-hmm.
Like Betsy Ross.
Something like that.
And she becomes president because she was voted on Twitter?
In 2036.
In 2036. In the year 2036.
Yeah, because it's future.
She was voted to be the president through a Twitter campaign.
And she named the teenage kid from 73 as her vice president.
Yes.
To bring it full circle, which would have made him like 70-something years old.
Hey, I mean, Trump's 70-something. Bernie was pretty old, too. So.
Not as old as Trump.
Bernie's not as old as Trump.
I don't think so. I'll look that up real quick. But yeah, so that's Perez. And Perez had that one-off with Catwoman, the election special, right?
Yeah, there was one called...
I didn't read it. You read it.
I did. It was Catwoman election night or whatever. And basically this whole thing was Catwoman stopping these two people from becoming mayor of Gotham. And it was very, very obvious that they were depicting these two people as Hillary and
Bernie's
Trump.
75, Donald is 70. I stand corrected.
So he's 5 years older.
Yeah.
Like the Penguin, very obviously Donald Trump, his campaign slogan was "Make Gotham Great Again."
Yeah, I mean it was a straight play on the current election, as it was.
But the woman who was running against Cobblepot seemed fine on the surface, but she had like this really dark past of living in the same foster home as Selena, and this woman killed somebody in her childhood so that she would get adopted instead.
Sounds like Hillary.
Yeah, I guess that's what their political statement was, and I'm assuming that Selena was Bernie.
Oh.
Now try to imagine Bernie Sanders in skin-tight latex.
Ooh, Bernie Sanders in anything sounds good to me.
So yeah,
right.
But then there was like that little extra bit at the end where it was Prez, and they were talking about gun control. Like it was a whole
more gun control shit,
mini story about gun control. Well, it's kind of a hot button topic.
Fortunately, Chris Priest went back in this latest issue of Deathstroke, and he's like, "That's a fake Deathstroke." So now Slade is on his way to Chicago to find out who the fake Deathstroke is.
Really?
Yep.
So that one shot thing where Deathstroke...
It was still a statement for gun control.
Right.
But it wasn't actually Slade Wilson.
Okay. So someone was pretending to be Deathstroke
to make it because Slade, in the issue before that, was still in custody after his son helped capture him.
Okay.
And so, yeah, he was still in custody. This Deathstroke's going crazy in Chicago. All of a sudden, Red Lion helps break him out of jail, and Slade's like, "I really didn't need your help." And now Slade goes to the DA or whoever it was that was holding him and presents him with a piece of paper that says, "I'm suing you for $22 million for false imprisonment." Because there's a Deathstroke in Chicago.
Hashtag winning.
Yeah, so he's like, "I'm going to talk to you about that $22 million later. Don't worry about it." So...
But I think it is kind of silly to take someone like Deathstroke and turn them into, I guess, like a thing against gun control when this is a mercenary who kills people. Mm-hmm. It would have made more sense to have someone like Batman or Batwoman or, even Wonder Woman. Someone who doesn't actively use guns.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you could have even done, Nightwing.
Yeah.
If you don't want to make it, one of your big
ones.
Big five or whatever, make it a mid-tier like Nightwing or, Flash or, something like that and have them make that statement. I mean, I could see panels of Flash running around the world and,
gathering up guns. How long do you think that would take?
I don't know. It depends on if it's Wally or Barry.
Who do you think? Well, Barry's faster than Wally.
Wally's faster than Barry.
In what continuity?
Titans Wally. Redhead Wally.
Redhead Wally. Okay, I didn't know which Wally. Because now there's two.
Yeah, there's two. But yeah, Redhead Wally.
Okay.
Because Yeah. Anyway, he showed up in this last issue of Nightwing. So, and he asks him about his date, and he goes, "This is a conversation better." And all of a sudden, he's sitting on the couch with beers.
Oh, okay.
Having a beer with a friend. So, he's fast. Anyway, the last two that we want to talk about, we're going to talk about Obama is actually currently the president in the Aquaman Rebirth stuff. And I find it very interesting.
Because they haven't changed it?
Because they haven't changed it yet. And so Obama is the president. And
still the president in D.C.
Right, and he basically declares war on Atlantis because he thinks that Atlantis is attacking the United States, and it's not, it's Nemo. Spoiler alert, because you bought the trade.
But Nemo happens...
during this, and
I thought there was...
issues... Okay. Basically, he orders...
I thought Nemo was later on in the series. Or is that's the beginning?
First big story arc.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I did buy that.
Yeah, and the president... Well, I think that's going to be 2 trades for that story arc, because I think it's like...
It's pretty long.
Yeah, it's a big story arc. Anyway, he actually orders the hit on Arthur.
Obama does?
Mm-hmm.
Well.
Yep. So Obama says we need to take out the leader of the enemy nation, or something like that. So seems pretty true to who Obama was.
That sounds like a direct quote, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
he during his presidency they did take out Bin Laden.
Yeah, SEAL Team 6 did, and this is kind of a play on that. Where I mean, no one's comparing Arthur Curry to Osama bin Laden by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
But it's a nation that had declared war against the United States, and all of a sudden there is a team that is sent in to
Nemo.
eliminate... No.
Okay.
There's a team sent in to eliminate Arthur Curry, and it just draws a lot of parallels to that.
Except that Atlantis wasn't the one who was actually waging war on America.
Right, it was Nemo. And they were playing them against each other. But Obama in that seems very loyal to who Barack Obama was as president. And I just like I said, I find it very interesting that they haven't switched that over to Donald Trump.
Well, these Rebirth titles started last year, while Obama was still president.
Right.
So, I mean...
So instead of going through like a political... issue where a new president's elected and all of a sudden, because initially he's talking to Obama, and he goes, stuff happens and, you don't see Obama for several issues. And then all of a sudden at the end, at the conclusion of the storyline, you see Obama again. So as writers, you would have to address the fact that there's a new president in office, what happened in between. So I understand. I just find it entertaining that they haven't done it yet. So just for personal little giggles. I think I'm just like...
Who knows? Maybe maybe Wonder Woman, she'll have to come face to face with...
You've seen those mugs, right? Where she's punching the shit out of him?
That is literally my Facebook cover photo.
Yeah, you can get mugs and t-shirts now.
I know what I'm getting myself.
Gotta treat yourself, girl.
Treat yourself. What's that? What's on your t-shirt? It's just Wonder Woman slugging Trump in the face.
The last one that we're going to talk about is Richard Nixon.
Well, don't forget, Ronald Reagan was in Dark Knight Returns.
Oh, yeah.
They don't say it's Reagan, but it's very
it's Ronald Reagan.
It's very obviously Reagan.
Yeah, so Frank Miller writes Ronald Reagan.
Uh-huh.
And Superman works for the United States.
Yes.
And he's sent after Batman.
He's sent after... I don't know if he was talking about Batman specifically, but he was sent to Gotham because of the whole thing with the mutants. Mm-hmm. The mutant clan or tribe or gang or whatever, and then Batman beats the living shit out of them, and then the whole place just goes into anarchy, so he sends Superman to go take care of it.
And that's the inspiration for BVS.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Pretty much.
Especially with the armored suit and all that stuff. The fight.
That armored suit is directly taken from Frank Miller's book.
Yeah, I mean, the fight is Frank Miller's Dark Knight.
Yes and no. It's not shot for... it's not panel for panel.
It's not panel for panel, but you can look...
But there are a lot of parallels.
Yeah.
Like when he gets blown up by that nuke.
Mm-hmm.
And he's all emaciated and
Yep.
stuff. That happened in Dark
Looks like
Knight
the dad
Returns.
from Modern Family.
He
He does.
A little
Looks
bit,
like
he
Phil
does.
Dunphy for a minute and
does.
just hanging out in space. But yeah, I mean, but you can take shots from BVS and look at panels in the Dark Knight, and you can see
where
panel for panel
where they
where that
obviously
stuff
got
is.
the
And of course, fans like to cherry pick that stuff and say, "Not based on comics, huh?"
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it absolutely is.
And then Richard Nixon, of course,
Yep.
Watchmen. He
fifth term president. At the
Yeah,
time.
he was constantly getting voted back into office. I mean, this is a parallel world. Like, this isn't exactly like us. But this is like a different 1985 where Nixon is still the president. And during his time, a bill was passed called the Keene Act, which outlawed masked vigilantism.
Right, but more importantly, Richard Nixon used the Watchmen in Vietnam.
He used Dr. Manhattan and Comedian.
Well, yeah, but they were there.
Yeah.
And so he used the supers at the time. I mean, I'll use quotes around that.
Well, the
supers
one
at the
super.
time. Right, but to go to Vietnam to just end that war. And then now he was basically posing Manhattan as the ultimate, don't fuck with us because we have Manhattan.
Well, isn't that kind of what nuclear weapons are? Like, don't fuck with us? I mean, that's kind of the whole... I mean, that's what Manhattan was really representing. And, I mean, he's Dr. Manhattan, like Manhattan, the Manhattan Project. And when you think Manhattan, you think New York and America. And
Right, but the problem is that no one else had a Manhattan.
No one else did.
And so no one else had that level of super or whatever you want to call him.
No one had that level of power.
Right, at their disposal to use basically as they wish.
Yeah.
And that's what Nixon had until Manhattan, because
Deuced out, basically.
Yeah, and went to Mars. But the whole thing was the tension between Afghanistan and Russia, and Richard Nixon was like, as long as we have Manhattan, as long as we have Dr. Manhattan, we're good.
Yeah.
And then he pieces out,
and he's like, "Fuck!" He starts
Russia immediately, invades Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And which, I mean, happened in real life, and that's where the inspiration for that comes from for the Watchmen. But he was a deterrent. He was used by the office of the president as a deterrent for people to go against the United States words, and
it worked.
It worked, but that's the power that comes with the office.
Yeah.
So, I mean, looking at it, that's a lot of DC, man, and a massive statement by Christopher Hastings that I can get on board with.
Yeah.
And I actually resonate that a lot in my rants and things like that.
Yes, you do. You really do.
It frustrates me because I do the work, man. I look at it, and I don't know why anybody else can't. Well, people do, but not everybody.
No, not the loudest ones.
Yeah. Well, next week we are talking solicitations.
Yes.
For March.
Yep.
And we'll see if Cody can get over the smash balls and
burnt penis,
because that is just a terrible situation for him.
I know. What a series of unfortunate events.
Literally.
Literally a series of unfortunate events.
All right. Thank you for joining us for episode 21. Thank you to Rock Bottom Comics and Maher. You guys know why.
We just love you.
Yeah. Much love. We're on iTunes, YouTube.
Podcast Republic.
Hopefully on SoundCloud eventually.
Yeah. Facebook. Twitter.
Just search the Comic Boot or Comic Boot. You can email us if you have any questions. Yeah, email us. Send us questions.
comicboot@gmail.com.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and signing out, I'm James.
I'm Kalen.
And we'll see you guys on Tuesday.